from Get Life Coaching. I hope you're having an outstanding day. I just wanted to share with you because we're starting what I would call my busy travel season, where I'm traveling around talking to entrepreneurs, small business owners, coaching people, doing all the great things that I have such an honor and privilege to do. And just last week from the recording of this, I was in Chicago. I was able to be a part of the Sage Summit, and meeting and speaking and talking to people was truly an amazing experience because I love the vibe, the energy, really the passion that people have. And this message for everyone out there, right? It doesn't matter if you're a mom, a dad, someone who's trying to figure out where you are in your life, or maybe you are an entrepreneur trying to grow an idea to create something out of nothing. And I had the honor of listening to Richard Branson speak. And Richard Branson has always been on that list of mine of like, God, I want to meet him. Like, this is the guy that has started from nothing, risked everything. Not every venture went great, right? But uses his success to really fuel his social impact. I remember listening to him, and he was talking about the fact that all his companies has given him the ability to do the things that really, really matter to him in his life. So this word passion gets thrown around so often. So I'm going to share with you a handful of keys, right? A handful of keys to how to understand, appreciate, identify, live more in your passion. And the first thing I want to say is, number one, do not let, I hate starting off with a negative, but you'll get this. Do not let anyone steal your passion away from you. Look, there's going to be plenty of people in your life that say, you're walking down the wrong path. Get a regular job. Why are you wasting your time on this? We live in a world today, I hate to say this, but it's easier to tear down than to build up. Look, if you are a naysayer out there, you're probably not listening to me, but think about the people in your life. We all have some who are the naysayers, who doubt everything. Here's the truth about them. They're always going to be right. They're always going to be right eventually. I remember one day I was working very early on in my career, and I was doing this mini breaking through the barrier, right? So I condensed back then, it was only like a one-day event, into a 3-hour event. We did board breaking, limiting beliefs, fears, right? It was like a kamikaze mission, right? I was just like crazy. I spoke really fast. I know, faster than I do right now. But I just wanted to share. I wanted to give gifts, right? To share that energy and these breakthrough techniques I was starting to develop back. God, this was probably about 15, 14 years ago. And at the very end, someone came up to me and he said, "Mr. White." I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Not bad, but let me give you some advice, son," right? And he wasn't old enough to call me son. And I wasn't secure enough in myself to really communicate effectively what I thought about his feedback for me. And he said, the first thing you need to do is you got to wear a shirt and tie. And I was thinking to myself, I'm not a shirt and tie type of guy. You got to wear a suit and tie every time you go out. Number two, you got to shave your goatee. And I had just stubble, right, compared to this fine thing I had today. And number three, you have to cover up these tattoos. Don't get any more. Right? It's a big thing. It discredits you. Right? And I'm thinking I got a lot of tattoos today. I had 3 back then. Right? And I rolled my sleeve up because I was giving so much. I was sweating. And he said, finally, no one wants to hear about your past. I mean, yeah, congratulations. You overcame drug addiction, alcoholism. Great for you, but nobody can relate to that. You got to be more professional. I remember walking away from that feeling like I was just torn down. Disappointed in, number one, I got to be honest, in myself for allowing someone to do that and drive me into that space. But it taught me a valuable lesson. It gave me a moment, either I would just realize or come to this false realization that maybe I wasn't cut out for this. Or two, I was going to use that to fuel. Because we cannot allow someone to steal our passion. Because think about this. The brightest lights attracts everybody. It attracts people in your life that you can impact, and it attracts people in your life who just want to tear you down. We got to get rid of these negative influences, these negative people. Love your family, choose your friends, because I know very often some of these people that tear us down is our family. You got to believe in yourself, believe in this purpose that you are, that you are moving forward into, that you are connecting to. The second thing is that very often we don't see, especially when we're starting out, right? We don't see or recognize the signs that we're on the right path because we're not getting the results. Early on in my career for me, it was clients. It was the amount of money in my bank account. It was very materialistic and external. And the challenge for me was the fact that I wasn't getting the results. So I began questioning my passion. Is this my calling, right? I was like, the guy tore me down. Now I'm tearing myself down. I started doubting and questioning. Now the problem with doubting is, you know this, the more you doubt, the more you doubt. And then all of a sudden, you give less. You become less authentic. You begin trying to be something that you're not. And I went down that road too. Until finally I realized this. My passion is innate in me. It's part of my DNA, part of who I am. Regardless of the results I'm getting or not getting, regardless of opinions of others, regardless of anything, my passion is my passion. Because here's what I feel. When I'm giving, when I'm serving, when I'm coaching, when I'm speaking, when I'm firewalking, I feel alive. It's a handful of areas where I feel truly, truly alive and connected to my body, connected to my soul, connected to this earth, connected to a greater force is when I serve. And I got to recognize that here. And my offering to you is the same. You got to recognize it within. We can't look external for results because sometimes they're just not there yet. But just because they're not there yet doesn't mean that you don't have a passion. Doesn't mean that's not the passion. Now, what about those people who say, I don't know what my passion is, right? I've been down that road too. And here's what I believe, right? More will be revealed. We gotta trust the process. Because very often what we think where we're headed, our destination, where that feeling is, isn't where we end up. Usually our passion becomes this zigzag, right? This journey. And I look at where I'm at today. When I started 17 years ago, it sounds like I'm so old, but 17 years ago. And look at where I'm at today. And this wasn't my business plan. My business plan was radically different than where I'm ended up today and where I'm headed. But when you trust the process, drop that ego. Ego's trying to control every outcome. It doesn't work. And give it everything you got. I know it sounds like, very airy-fairy, right? Give it everything you got. But when you lead with your heart, when you lead with your gifts, when you lead with those most intimate parts of you, that's when the next step is revealed. And I can use analogies across the door, over and over again. Like, very often I came up to a door and it was closed. And I was frustrated. But I found the window and I got out that way. See, sometimes in life we got to climb to the mountaintop to get the view of what to do next. And it's not easy. But I don't think our passion's meant to be easy, to figure it out, to figure out how to live into it. So my coaching is simple. Find out the areas of your life that makes you feel alive, that makes you feel connected to you, to your body, to your soul, to the earth, to a greater purpose. Find those areas and run to them. Not walk, right? Not speculate, but run to them. Run into them. Because you're going to find out very shortly if that feeling is sustained or it dissipates. Because there's many things that I used to do in the past I don't do today. Because I thought that's the way I live my passion. And I would do it and I would feel great in the moment, but wouldn't last. Now I can thankfully say today, whether I'm coaching people one-on-one, training people to become coaches, speaking on stages to entrepreneurs and small businesses around the country, helping businesses to launch and grow their business, wherever that space is. I feel great in it. I feel great before it. I feel great afterwards. Now, it doesn't mean there's never a dent in the armor. It doesn't mean there's times, I gotta be honest here, right? I'm not this personal development, professional development guy that says, my life is perfect. Do as I do. That's bull crap. Come live with me for a week. You'll give me a laundry list of things I need to improve upon. But isn't that the nature of life? Isn't that the nature of trying to figure all this out? Now, I can tell you this. We can do this a couple ways, right? We can wait for the time to be, which is absolutely certain, where we feel guaranteed that whatever we're searching for, we'll find. And that's a long wait, because that time's not coming, right? We're never going to be sure. We're never going to have that absolute certainty. Why do we want certainty? Because we want certainty because we want to have that guarantee that if I give it everything, I'm going to get that reward. But the reward comes from inside. The reward comes through progress. The reward comes through working your butt off, giving, being vulnerable, sharing, loving, connecting, and going through all the challenges, the ups and the downs, the winters and the summers. And sometimes it's surviving the winters, and other times it's thriving in the summer. So go out there, live your passion, discover your passion, trust the process. We all have it. It's not like, me and a few other people, we have it, right? The rest of the world don't. We all have a passion. We all have something that inspires us, that gets us up early, keeps us up late. I love what I do, and I travel my butt off. And it's not always easy. In the next few months, I'm flying to Hawaii. I know, Hawaii. I'm like, how bad is Hawaii? I'm going to Hawaii for a weekend to recharge. Then I'm going to Dallas, and then I'm going to Seattle. And then a few months after that, we look at my flying schedule. Chicago, it is LA, it's San Francisco, it's Arizona, it's Atlanta. So is it easy? Not always. I leave my family. I leave my little girl. I leave the things here that I love, my friends. But what keeps me going, right, no matter what result I'm getting, is that intrinsic understanding that I'm living my purpose. And that's where passion comes from. Living your purpose. Regardless of actions, regardless of results, regardless if you're brilliant or maybe a day that you're less than brilliant. Discover your passion and live it. This is Joe White from Get Life Coaching. Have an amazing day of discovering your purpose, your passion. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.